current challenge is unimaginable. We've been added with over 780 children and over 330 widows since the beginning of the war. The Bible repeats over 40 times, I think it's 44 times, the commandment to take care of the widows and the orphans. It's been repeated more than any other mitzvah or commandment in the Bible. I told you earlier that I feel like I'm doing the practical work, but behind it there's so much spirituality and emotions. I have a commitment to make sure that we're taking care of these children and their mothers.
Welcome to Proclaiming Justice, a podcast from PJTN that focuses the light of truth on vital issues in today's headlines that impact every American. I'm your host, Laurie Cardoza-Moore, founder and president of Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, and I'm here to educate, motivate, and activate you to action. I want to arm you with the truth and the facts you'll need to fight and preserve our constitutional republic and uphold the Judeo-Christian values our nation was founded upon. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Shlomi Nahumson. Shlomi runs an organization that helps the widowed, the poor, and the orphaned in Israel. This is serving the IDF, widowed, orphaned, and the website where you can learn more about this organization is www.idfwo.org. This is a nonprofit organization that deserves our full support and attention. Shlomi, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a great honor to have you, and I want to first start off by giving us a little background to this organization. To our audience, both Christians and Jews, we know that we're biblically supposed to support the widowed, the poor, and the orphaned. And you are doing this amazing holy work. Tell us about your organization and tell us about what your organization is doing.
Sure, and thanks, Laurie, for having me this morning. I'll reinforce what you said and say that the Bible repeats over 40 times, I think it's 44 times, the commandment to take care of the widows and the orphans. It's been repeated more than any other mitzvah or commandment in the Bible. I told you earlier that I feel like I'm doing the practical work, but behind it there's so much spirituality and emotions. But this in regards to the holy work you're talking about. IDF Widows and Orphans organization was established in 1991. It is recognized by the State of Israel as the only official organization for the widows and the children of our fallen soldiers. And by the way, not only soldiers, but also Mossad agents, Shin Bet, police officers, and any other security agents fallen in battle. We've been doing this for 35 years nearly, in three main buckets. The first one is providing emotional and community work, enabling the children to cope with the loss, to be supported by their peers, actually the only ones who really understand what they're going through and can relate to their pain and also to their unique experiences in their lives. Second bucket would be financial assistance. We understand today more than ever that the family is being weakened by the circumstances, and no matter how generous the government is towards these families, they're still weakened, and the gap is growing from one decade to another, and they really need our assistance. And the third bucket is having their voices heard. When that happens to a family, they aren't always aware or have the ability to demand what they deserve, and we speak out for them. It can be in the Knesset, at the Ministry of Defense, in the Army, or anywhere else needed. So these are the three main buckets where we act.
Mm-hmm. How did the organization get started? Was this a government organization initiated? Was it private sector that saw the need and decided to fill this void?
It's actually a nonprofit that started by the widows. They understood that no one can speak their voices better than them themselves, and no one can take care of their children and having their needs heard anywhere, but especially in the Knesset and other places, better than they can. So, as opposed to other charities, this is actually their organization. They established it with the purpose to provide themselves a stable and strengthening home where they can really put their responsibility over to professional staff to take care of them. But this is an organization that they started, and up until today, the chairwoman and our board of directors are all widows and adult orphans. And I have the honor and the privilege to say that I work for the widows and the orphans.
So tell our audience about a personal story of a family who has been impacted by your work, maybe talking about the loss of their father or their mother, and the success of a family who has benefited from your organization and the work that you do.
I'll start by saying that the current challenge is unimaginable. We've been added with over 780 children and over 330 widows since the beginning of the war. These numbers are typical for 20 years. We haven't had these numbers since for the past 20 years before the war. Having said that, there's so many stories, which makes it really hard to pick one. But I'll share a little one of a young lady whom I was speaking with this morning. Hagar was Yaakov's partner. They were teenagers when they met each other, when they were 16, and later they decided to get married. When he heard what happened on October 7, he could not sit quiet. He could not sit still, and he insisted to be drafted to the army, to have his unit drafted and to join them in Gaza. And he was recruited in November 2023. He did everything. It's hard to say with a passion, because at the end of the day, a warrior's job is not a pleasant job. No one loves going to war, but he did it knowing that this is the right thing for his wife, for himself, for his people, that the time is now and there's no one else to do it. And he voluntarily went and was drafted to fight in Gaza. It was after only 1 month when he felt Hagar's baby for the first time, their baby. Hagar was 3 months pregnant, 3 or 4 months pregnant. And just a few weeks before he went to battle, it was the first time when he felt the baby. And he was looking forward to become a father. And I really believe that when he went to battle, he wanted to make sure that his child will not grow up in a place where October 7 can happen again. And unfortunately, in November 2023, he died in battle, leaving Hagar pregnant with their first and only born girl. Her name is Ella. And shortly after he died, Hagar joined our Letzidech program. Letzidech in Hebrew means by your side. And this is a very unique program targeting the widows who were left pregnant. There are 42 widows during this war who were left carrying their husbands' babies. And we supported Hagar and the other 41 women with 2 midwives throughout the pregnancy. Many of them tended to, I don't want to use the word neglect, but to forget their responsibilities over their own bodies, making sure that they're following the pregnancy protocols, the exams, taking care of themselves and their babies. These 2 midwives were on call 24/7, reminding her that she needs to take whatever she needed to take, that she has to follow the protocol, to hold her hand when she goes to the ultrasound, to make sure that she's not alone during that pregnancy. I personally met with each and every director of OBGYO departments in Israeli hospitals to make sure that there's a red carpet thrown to their feet when they come to give birth, that they get a private room, that they get all their needs, medical and also emotional needs, answered by the hospital staff. And later, we had medical and emotional staff accompanying the baby and the mother throughout the first 4 months. Lastly, we're providing night nurses to these widows. I know as a father how difficult it is to deal with the sleep deprivation after birth, and when it's a single mother who also copes with such a great loss, it's even more difficult. So up until today, some of these widows are a year and a half past their labor, and they're still being assisted by the night nurses. It works well. And I really think that we had the privilege and the honor to serve them in a very unique and important time frame in not only in their lives, but also in the children's lives, because the children, the babies, received stronger mothers, ones that can really give them what they really need throughout the first few months. And it's also a commitment to their fathers. It could have been me, it could have been my friends, my brother, it could have been any of us. So I have a commitment not only as the CEO of this organization, but also as an Israeli citizen. I have a commitment to make sure that we're taking care of these children and their mothers.
How long does this care last? Does it end 6 months after the baby's born, when the child turns 5? Or is this a commitment till the child goes into adulthood?
I'll share a conversation that I had with one of these programs participants. She was stressed out because in the beginning we said that this is going to be a yearly program. So from birth but it's so difficult to put an end to this program, and she was stressful about it. The baby was, I think, 8 or 9 months old, and she also already looked forward, and she was stressed about being left alone. And I told her, we're here for whatever you need, and if you need a few more months, if you need another year, it's okay, we'll find the resources. I really believe that for these causes, when you need the resources, they come. I will never save money and not provide a night nurse to a widow that gave birth a year ago. This is our top priority. So it's a 1-year program, but I can tell you that over more than 50% of these women are still being assisted by the night nurses, and we're thinking ahead. We just came up with a committee that will examine the needs of our toddlers. Over 250 of the orphans are younger than 5. So for the first time, we started a committee. It's led by Michal Zmora, Michal is the widow of Arnon Zmoa, the commander of the operation rescuing 4 hostages in Gaza a year ago. And she specializes on the early ages. And we came up with this committee, and we re-examining the best ways to support these families.
Mm-hmm. So you really need the support of the public to help come alongside what you're doing in order to help these mothers who have lost, or even fathers. Are you dealing with even women who have died and fallen in combat, and their spouse, their husband, is left to try to now meet the needs, the emotional needs, the physical needs of the children?
Right. We need this support more than ever, and I can tell you more than that. We're going to need it for the next few decades, because these children. I'm sure you saw the picture of the 900th casualty last week. There's a footage of young Leo, 9-month-old baby, crawling next to his father's grave during the funeral. This kid needs us not only today, not only for the first year with the night nurse, or going to our Otzma camps or whatever. They're going to need us for the next few decades. So yes, we need that support more than ever, but we're going to need that support for the next few years or decades, just to make sure that we carry on our responsibility to raise healthy, strong, resilient, and happy individuals. We owe it to them, we owe it to their fathers, we owe it to this nation.
So I just want to tell our audience that this is a very important organization. Israel's suffering already from the constant attacks. Even yesterday, we were here filming in Israel. Yesterday, we had 2, I think, rocket attacks again. This is ongoing, and we know that, we are required biblically to stand with our Jewish brethren, defend the state of Israel against this terrorist force. But the very practical needs, meeting the very practical needs of Israelis who have lost their spouses, and now have the responsibility of having to raise their children as orphans and try to meet the financial needs of their families. This is a very important mission. We're required by God to help the widowed, the poor, the orphaned. And this is an amazing organization that people should get behind and support. Shlomi, tell our audience how they can get involved. How can they find out more about your work? How can they financially support your organization?
We have many different wonderful programs throughout the year for different age groups, from babies through toddlers, children, the widows themselves, the orphans when they become young adults, and even adults and still need our guidance. I would encourage your viewers to log into www.idfwo.org for seeking for IDF Widows and Orphans Organization, and find the program that they're most connected to, and find also the way to support that program. And I would only add that, in my view, this is not only a mission for the bereaved families. It's, in many ways, it's taking care of Israel's future and existence, because the soldiers that are fighting for our people and our nation in Gaza, in Lebanon, the Mossad agents, wherever they are in the world, they can only fight for these people, for our people and for this land, if they know that if, God forbid, something happens to them, all of us will take care of their family, not just the government, not just the casualty department, not just an organization. This is a mission for all of Israel's lovers united to support the bereaved families and to help the soldiers understand and be assured that if, God forbid, something happens to them, their families will be taken care of in the best way possible.
Amen. Thank you again for joining me on this edition of Proclaiming Justice. Please share this podcast with your family and friends. For more information about how you can get involved, please visit our website at pjtn.org. As a PJTN Watchman, you can help us keep up the fight to preserve our freedom for our children and their children for such a time as this.